Lions-Rams. And you know what? I find this hilarious, but not too surprising. National media is slobbering all over the Rams.
Man.
As predicted.
That's all I saw yesterday.
That's as predicted. Eric Allen comments, and I'm going to read his comment. He says, NFL Network had 12 people pick the game, and 7 or 8 picked the Rams over the Lions. And I didn't see that. I did see Chris Sims and Mike Florio. They both picked the Rams.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, I'm picking the Rams. You kidding me? Like, it wasn't even like hard for them. Which, again, am I saying everybody should pick the Lions? No, but it does feel disrespectful in a way. I mean, this team's 12-5. They won their division. They haven't lost 2 straight all year. I think they've earned the respect, but hey, you're Detroit. You haven't really taken the respect yet. You know, you have to still win a playoff game. You have to prove that it's real. And I kind of like that they're the underdog. I think they'll thrive in that type of environment.
I mean, I suppose that even though the Lions, we all know that it's different. We all know that they won the division for the first time in 30 years. In a lot of ways, on a national stage in a playoff environment, the burden of proof is on them to prove that they can win a playoff game, even though we all think that they can. I think national media, they just haven't been following the Lions as closely as us in the local media have, and why would they at this point? So it's a great opportunity for the Lions to be in some ways introduced to the rest of the NFL football watching world and the NFL media world, because they clearly, a lot of them haven't watched any of their games this year. I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything like that, but that's just, I mean, sometimes what they even say about them, it's like, what games have you been watching?
Paul Thomas says, have you ever not gotten disrespect from national media? That's a good point, Paul. I don't think this is anything surprising or new to Lions fans, but I will tell you this. For this game on Sunday, there's a lot of matchups that I do like. I know we've spoke about different things the Lions need to do, must do, and I'll just kind of recap some of those things and just so we get them correct. And I'll get to the turnover stuff because that's my biggest thing in about 12 minutes. So I'll talk about that at 8:30. Right now, the biggest thing for the Lions is in the trenches, winning that battle in the trenches. That's everything, offensively and defensively. Offensively, because you have a pass rush with Aaron Donald, Kobe Turner, and they have 2 rookies that have combined for like 17 sacks. So, and Ben Johnson spoke about it when he spoke to the media. He said this is the most dangerous interior defensive line tandem we've faced. Maybe since the Ravens, which is speaking. That's respect right there from Ben Johnson. It's a lot of respect. And we saw how this offensive line struggled against the Ravens. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the same outcome, but it is a huge test. The offensive line, the Lions will go as far as they will take them. Pass protection, run blocking. You have a 2-headed monster, but that offensive line needs to open up holes here. They're going to be everything for the offense. Protecting Jared, giving him time to get the football out, and, of course, opening up lanes for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. If you go to the other side, Aiden Hutchinson. It's not just Aiden. You're going to like this. You're going to like this a lot, Sam Flannel. Aiden Hutchinson, we of course, expect him to have a big game. But it's not just Aiden. Okay, it's also about who's on the other side of Aiden. Mm-hmm. That matters. And if you watch the Vikings game, and I know Levi Onwuzurike got a sack, which made no sense. He came out of nowhere. But the irony in that is Aiden pushed him out of the pocket for Levi to get the sack. We got to see, and Aleem McNeil's back. So, again, if Aleem can get pressure to push him outside, so Aiden can get the sack. It all goes the same all around. John Kaminsky. These guys need to step up, too. It's not just Aiden. Now, Aiden's going to – I don't really have too much worry about Aiden. I think he's going to get pressure. He's going to make some plays. Obviously, sacks would be preferred. But regardless, it is that defensive line. It is that offensive line. I think that they're a physical team. We talked a lot about Michigan last week and this week about how they're the most physical team in college football. The Lions have built their team to be physical, and you have to display that on Sunday. Matthew Stafford does a really good job of getting the ball out quickly. That's why the sack numbers are a little skewed, because it's 1, 2, 3, boom, ball out. 1, 2, 3, boom, ball out. And now you got Cooper and Puka, who are just they're getting wide open within seconds. And, of course, the run game helps when you can establish play action, like the Rams love to do. So, to me, it's about the offensive line and the defensive line. Yeah, we'll get to Puka and Cooper against the secondary. That's a whole nother thing. But, to me, it starts up front. That's where the game should start. And if the Lions dominate on both sides of the ball, this game they'll win no problem.
Yes, we expect a big game out of the Lions' offensive line because when they're all together, they pretty much have never not had a big game. The defensive line is a little bit more concerning, but Aiden Hutchinson has obviously had a great year, is developing into a superstar. You've got a Lee McNeil who's coming back. James Houston has practiced this week, so that's another one. We may see him out there. We shall see. But I've got a couple of off the beaten path things that I want to talk about when it comes to the Detroit Lions and some keys to the game for them and even for the Los Angeles Rams in some ways. I'm going to name some players and I'm going to ask you what they all have in common.
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Kyren Williams, James Cook, DeAndre Swift, James Conner, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Raheem Mostert, Travis Etienne. I'll just tell you guys because those are a lot of names. Those are 10 of the top 11 rushing leaders in the NFL. The other one, of course, being our very own David Montgomery. So we know that the Lions have the number 2 ranked rush defense in the NFL.
Yes.
But another thing that those guys have in common is none of them have faced the Lions one time, or the Lions have not had to face any of them one time. I'm not saying that the Lions' run defense is fraudulent. I mean, they shut down Isaiah Pacheco, who probably would have had 1,000 yards if he would have played every game. Same with Kenneth Walker. They shut down Aaron Jones, and Tony Pollard was another one who had 1,000 yards. He's not on this list, but the Lions completely shut him down. Pretty much every running game except the Bears and the Ravens, the Lions have shut completely down.
Right.
But Kyren Williams is a little bit of a different animal. He's the 3rd leading rusher in the NFL despite playing only 12 games. He led the NFL in rushing yards per game. So I'm saying that the Lions are going to have to face one of the best running backs in the league. And I think one of the keys to this game, I think we all know that there's a very, very good chance that Matthew Stafford will put up some yards, that Puka will make some plays, that Cooper Kupp will make some plays. But I think one of the keys to the game is make sure that the Lions continue to stop the run, continue to not let running backs eat. And in the case of Kyren Williams, when Kyren Williams isn't playing well, it's going to be a lot tougher on Matthew Stafford because every quarterback, a running game is their best friend. So yes, this is one of those games where the Lions rush defense has a unique challenge, but they can prove some things. And I'm really excited to see how that plays out. Another one that I haven't thought about this week, but I think will be very, very interesting. We talk about the Detroit Lions and all of the fantastic rookies that they have. And we all would agree that the rookies have been one of the keys to this season, along with second-year players and third-year players, all Brad Holmes draft picks. But do you know who else had a hell of a draft class? The Los Angeles Rams. Think about this. Their first pick, their second overall pick, Steve Avila, played every single snap at left guard for the team. I'm not saying he was a world beater or anything like that, but he was the starting left guard in an offense that is very, very good, both passing, running, and scoring. You got Byron Young, their 3rd-round pick, 8 sacks, same as Aaron Donald. Kobe Turner, their second 3rd-round pick, has 9 sacks that led the team. Think about this. Their other defensive tackle, a rookie, had more sacks than Aaron Donald. That is a hell of an accomplishment. And oh, by the way, their best rookie of them all, Puka Nacua, a 5th-round pick, has set the all-time rookie receiving yards record. So that's amazing. We all know about Gibbs, 945 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. Sam Laporta, phenomenal. Brian Branch, one of the best rookie defensive players. And Jack Campbell, as much as he struggled a bit at the beginning of the year, did end up with 95 tackles, which is second on the team to Alex Anzalone. My point in all that is that neither the Lions nor the Rams would be where they are today without the contributions of their rookies. And I would like to see which rookie class from this year impacts the game more, the Rams or the Lions, because I think that'll actually tell a lot about who wins the football game. And we all know playoff primetime games, there's a lot of pressure on rookies. There's no rookie that has ever been in a position quite like that. So I would like to see how all the rookies on both sides perform, because these teams, you don't see this a lot in playoff teams. I mean, you see it more often nowadays, but very rarely do you see playoff teams in which rookies contribute so much right away. And I think that is going to be a big factor in who wins the game. It's funny because when you really break it down, everyone wants to just talk about Goff versus Stafford, but there are a lot of other key factors in who wins this game.
Yeah, that's a great point you brought up. Didn't even think about it. the rookie class for both teams. It's funny. It's like Brad Holmes worked for the Rams. It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Les Snead is one of the best general managers in the league, and you see it play out that way. Hoof-hearted. It's a great comment, by the way. If the Lions can make the Rams' offense one-dimensional, I like their chances. An offense that can both run and pass is almost always going to outscore an offense that is just really good at passing. It's very simple, but he's right. And Sean McVay, him and Ben Johnson, it's not the same offensive scheme, but it's a similar philosophy. They want to run the ball. Everything the Rams do starts with Kyren. Everything the Lions want to do starts with their run game. Obviously, their offensive line. Same with the Rams. Their offensive line's actually better than it was when they won the Super Bowl. It's better, but I can't just sit here and say, well, they're going to neutralize the Lions' pass rush. No, that doesn't matter. Like, you still have to get pressure, and you still have to stop the run because Kyren Williams, KG, he's a stud.
Yeah, he is.
Like 1,200 yards in 12 games.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to crunch numbers for a living. No, those are pretty impressive numbers.
No, he's balling this year. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to what this defense is going to give us, man. I think AG is going to scheme this thing up right. We all know they can't stop the pass. Not anything significant anyway. So expect a lot of big pass plays, but they have to at least limit those, and they have to be good in the red zone. If they don't hold some of those, scores to 3 points, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble in this game. So I'm just looking forward to what they do. Our run defense has been good all year. We got to lean back. He's healthy. Looking forward to what James Houston's going to bring us on that defensive line. So it's going to be real interesting, but definitely you want to limit Kyren Williams and make them one-dimensional.
Yeah, no question. Kyren, I think, is the X factor. I think the Lions, if I had confidence in something they do well, it's the run defense. Because I honestly can't tell you the last time a running back went for 100.
It didn't happen this year.
So it'd have to be last year, Carolina?
The only singular player that went for over 100
300
yards this year was Justin Fields, and he's a quarterback, and we all know the Lions' problems with mobile quarterbacks. But fortunately, when it comes to Stafford, I know that he can move around in the pocket, but he's definitely not somebody who can really kill you with his legs. Their running game is basically Kyren Williams or nobody else. But it's been damn effective when he's been on the field. So we'll see. And when it comes to some of the rookies that I mentioned for the Los Angeles Rams, I mean, Steve Avila, their guard. I think this is going to be a big game for the interior of the defensive line for the Lions. I mean, Ali McNeil, if he ever gets matched up against a rookie, as good of a rookie as Steve Avila has been, that's a matchup that he's going to have to win from time to time. And Byron Young and Kobe Turner have combined for 17 sacks. Well, this Lions offensive line is the best in the NFL, and they've kept Jared Goff pretty clean throughout the majority of the season. I think the matchup that we're all worried about is Puka Nacua versus the Lions secondary. I think it's 100% inevitable that Puka Nacua makes some plays. But like I've said many times before, Justin Jefferson made a lot of plays. The Lions were 2-0 against the Vikings. Keenan Allen made a lot of plays. The Lions beat the Chargers. Chris Olave made a lot of plays. The Lions beat the Saints, and then CeeDee Lamb went for 227 yards, and the Lions lost to the Cowboys. if you catch my drift.
Yeah, and I want to read some of these comments, and just because I feel like I'm having some fun today. Why not?
Go for
Spencer
it.
B88. Ben Johnson is nothing like McVay. McVay made Goff look like a competent quarterback for years. Have you watched the last 2 years of Jared Goff? I mean, does that look competent to you? Back-to-back Pro Bowls. He's second in the league in passing yards and fourth in TDs. He has 30 on the year. I mean,
he's having the best stretch of his
career.
career.
I'm not saying Ben Johnson's better than McVay. I'm just saying to say that McVay made him look competent and now he's not. You got to watch him the last 2 years. I think Jared Goff has done a really good job of kind of turning the narrative around. But this game, Sam Flannel, me and you were in lockstep here. This Sunday is prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it. And he's won playoff games, of course, but with new information, Sam Flannel, you're allowed to change your opinion.
Sure.
You said it best. And Sunday is new information. This is a playoff environment. This isn't Week 7 against Minnesota. This is real. You're at Ford Field. The energy is going to be different, and I'm curious to see what kind of Jared we get. And I'm not saying that for statistical reasons, and I'll explain that in a couple of minutes. It has nothing to do with 300 yards and 4 TDs. It doesn't. I don't care about the stat line. I don't care if they win 3-0. I really don't. I mean, they can win 2-0 and get a safety. I really don't give a shit. Just win the game. But you're going to find out a lot about Jared this Sunday, no doubt about it.